I do need help.
I mean, yes, it's not easy. Yeah? First of all, I mean, just think about how old you are and how long you have been in this kind of mess. How much of mind, wherever he wants to jump, there he jumps.
Yes.
And now, we start, in a late age, to try to succumb the mind.
Yes.
And that is, of course, not easy. I mean, it's just the same way, I mean, you have never had anything to do with computers. Now, if your friend says, you need a computer, you have to learn a computer, I mean, that is rather difficult, isn't it? I mean, what is this kind of machine, Dhamma Maharaj says, at my time, there wasn't anything like that. Why should I bother with it? I don't have to learn it. But the Harikama or the meditation, I mean, it's never time too late to learn it. The earlier we learn it, the better. Because it's not only for this life, but it's for the next life as well. If you start this life, then next life, it becomes easier. So, I mean, you see all the troubles and everybody, who comes here, and I'm sure Alison can tell you of the problems they had, She still has problems, to stay with her Harikama. I mean, it's not easy because the mind wants to go on. And images or thoughts, it's just one and the same kind. I mean, images are just visual thoughts. But they delude us much more than thoughts. So we sweep them out. I mean, the moment an image comes in, we say Buddha, and then try to remember the Buddha statue that we know. So you go up into the sala, look very closely at the Buddha statue, and then the moment you say Buddha, I mean you bring that visual image in of the Buddha statue. He stays for our teacher, for the utmost or the foremost teacher in this world, who was teaching us meditation, who was teaching us the way to liberation. So we can have faith in him, and then we can feel grateful for him. And that can all come with this image that we take into our heart. So that it will calm down all the other images. But of course it is not easy. Just like I said, when we learned to walk, it wasn't easy. We tried to stand on our feet, and we tippled over. Okay. What did we do? We tried again. What did we do? Next time we tried it again. Until 2 years later, we could walk. Wonderful. So there's a chance, there's a way, there's a hope that we can do all these things. But of course, when you go back to your lay life, you have to do it daily. And the best thing, what I recommend is, before you even start any kind of work, I mean, the moment you get up, you sit down and do practice. Or you do walking practice, whatever is convenient, you have to know where you're living. First of all, 45 minutes. Before you even start eating. Just practice. Buddha, make the mind calm. Leave everything out. I'm not interested. And the best time is actually, when you wake up. Immediately when you wake up, you rise up and you sit down. Not to go into that dream state that comes. So that's the best way, how to get rid of these images. Yeah. So you do your Buddha, or you do your. What you can also do in the morning. If it's difficult to concentrate, I mean, then spread metta, loving kindness to your friends, to your family, to your parents. I mean, no matter if they are dead or not. Wish them well. I mean, you can do that for 10 or 15 minutes. Wish them well, wish your friends well. May they be happy, may they be free of suffering, maybe no harm comes to their life. And then include yourself. I wish myself happiness. I don't want that any harm comes to me in my life. So, and then go to the people you know. And then go to the people you don't like. And then go to the people you hate. And then spread them. In the beginning, of course, your voice will be crunchy, I don't wish him, Yes, I wish him. No, I don't wish him. Yes, I wish him happiness. No, I don't wish him happiness. That is a little bit of fight. Okay, go through that fight. Until you really can. The feeling, of course, is not as true as if it is your wife or spouse or partner or friend, good friend, your body. Then of course, we have a lot of metta coming up, yeah? But if we think about people we do not like, metta in the beginning, metta is not coming up. So we can train that. And you will see it. After half a year, after a year, you can really wish them from your heart. Not that the feelings of love come up, but from your heart. Maybe they are happy. I wish they are happy. I wish they are free from suffering. I wish that they can find the fruit of their life. I wish that they do good karma. All these things we can wish for them. And that sort of thing, takes out the thoughts, when we come up from sleep and our mind is completely, it's not able to concentrate. After 10 or 15 minutes we can concentrate. And then we can go to the Buddha, and wash the mind just clear. And then we can do our things, our work, and so on. Having breakfast and then do our work or go and friends and so on. And the moment we come back home, the first thing that we do is to wash the mind again. Forget about everything that happened that day. Just wash your mind. Bodo. So, once we have done that, also 45 minutes or an hour, or maybe if you like 1.5 hours, and then reflect about the day. Make a reflection. What have I done? What went good? What went not so good? What needs to be corrected? How can I correct it? Or what was the result? What kind of action did I do to get that unhappy result? Just a reflection after the mind is calm. And if you get some ideas how to correct the problem, the next day in the morning before you start doing anyway, get up these reflections that you want to correct and say, okay, today I am very mindful about this and this. Just one thing or two things. Not too many, because otherwise you forget them. And then in the evening, on the next day in the evening, after your Buddha meditation, after you clear your mind, you reflect again about the day, and then you see if you could change anything. If you see you couldn't change anything yet, be patient. We were patient when we learned to walk. So be patient. It doesn't go from one day to the other. Just because we have a determination not to do this again, that doesn't mean that we are not going to do it. Because actually there's another force in our heart, or in our citta, that pulls us, that draws us into these unwholesome states. So, we have to fight that. And that takes a while. Sometimes it takes only a month, sometimes it might take a year. Depends on how deep it is. It just depends on how deep we have driven our car into the sand. The longer we've driven it, the more it's just difficult to pull it out. If you just notice, okay, I'm in the sand, then pulling out is very easy. But all our life we run the same track. How deep it is. So you can imagine, that's not easy. That is the best way. With this little schedule, your life will change. If you're honest, if you're determined, and if you don't let go of the daily practice. No excuse. You do your daily practice and everything else, that's fine. On the weekends, if you want to do some more, okay, that's fine. Do 1 hour more in the afternoon and maybe in the evening, so that you have 3 hours or 4 hours of meditation. It helps getting us mindful. It helps being aware of the things that are going on in our life. And then in the beginning we can remove quite a lot of clutter. Just the things that are not so important, but we always thought that it's important, but we reflect about it and say, that's not really important, huh? And so we don't do it anymore. Wonderful. Huh? That's a practice for lay people. And of course, keep the 5 precepts. That's important. And then if you do that, you don't have to worry about your future. Because you try, to try to keep the 5 precepts, so you stay on safe ground. I mean, you don't go out in the moors where you can disappear. That's a safe ground, keeping the 5 precepts. You don't jump into and die and go to a lower realm. No.
Is it appropriate to meditate with other people?
Yeah, sure. Yes, if it helps you. But you should not neglect to meditate for your own. I mean, do it with other people, but don't neglect it to do it on your own. And you will notice it doing it on your own might be more difficult. But the results or the fruits of doing it on your own are unaccountable. But if you like to, okay, that is fine. Even if it's a retreat, if you do a 10 days retreat somewhere in New Zealand, in a monastery or in an ashram or whatever, I mean, that is perfectly fine. And then, of course, you can't do meditation on your own. Except, you are so determined like I was, that when everybody was gone, I was going back in the meditation room, and I was on my own. Or in the morning when all the people were sleeping, I was sneaking out in the meditation room and did my own meditation 2 hours, before the others came in. Yes. I mean, that is one good thing about Germans. If they want something, they put the effort in it. That necessarily doesn't mean whatever they put the effort in, it's good. I mean, it can be really terrible. But like in the Second World War, but if you do something, if you put our determination effort in something good, we will reach that. But of course, we have to develop that. And the people in Germany normally have developed it in their previous lives. That's why they're born in Germany. Other people, if it's a lazy country, they will be born in a lazy country. Other people who have good karma from generosity, I mean, they will be born in Saudi Arabia. Or I mean, what are these little states, they have so much money they don't even know what to do with it. But that is because of their generosity. That's because of their previous karma. So we are born into a country because of our karma. We are born in the family because of our karma. And then, of course, we have to realize, okay, that is our karma, and we are not willing to go this way any further. We are going to make a change in our life. Okay. And if people are open-minded, they might be born into America. That's one thing, They are now, they don't have all this clutter of hierarchy and so on. They're much freer. That is also one thing. Being open-minded. On the other hand, they are shallow, but also the Germans have their good qualities and their negative qualities. The Germans know everything better. Wherever you go, you immediately catch a German. If he tells you, this you should do like this and this and this, you're German. At least he was born, even if his parents are German and he lives in New Zealand, you will notice it. That's why they are really famous for. Being critical about everything else in this world except themselves. Okay, they have some good things and they have some bad things. Every one of us, It doesn't matter, really. We don't have to look down on other people because, they are not as good as we. Okay, someone? question?
Different stages of development people are at. This is one of the perhaps unwittingly criticise other people when they're not the same level.
We criticize other people because we are dissatisfied with our own state of being. So if we criticize somebody else, if we feel, if we have enough rationality to criticize somebody else, or if we have enough, wisdom to criticize something else, of course, that moment we feel better. Yes. And that is the whole reason, for us, because we don't feel good at all, we need to criticize others. So that we feel better. That's the whole purpose of the newspaper. They only show us these bad things, that happen in the world, and then we can say, oh, I'm not that bad. Oh, I'm not that bad. Oh, I'm not that bad. I'm really good, So we don't see our own shit.
Yes. Takes the attention away from ourselves.
Yeah. Everything in this world is designed to take us away. To show us something, just like, how does the advertisement work? You need this, you need this Pepsi, or you need that Coke, or you need this new brand of perfume, otherwise people won't like it. And we're so stupid enough to believe that. So we go and buy that. And then we wonder why it doesn't work. People still don't like it, even if we bought this thing of makeup or perfume or candy, that makes our mouth so fresh, that all these girls or all these men, just feel attracted towards us. Don't think that's funny? No. You must have had a very, very difficult life, huh?
Can I ask you something? During my life, since I was perhaps 10 or so, I've had about 8 to 10 experiences where I'll be walking along the road somewhere not thinking about anything, and all of a sudden I'd be completely unaware of my body, and I'd just be, and it'd be such a beautiful state. Suddenly, a few minutes later, the realization is that it's all real. I've got to carry on. And
it's all unreal, or it's all real.
The material world is just not there. And yet, when the realization that it is there, I feel I've got to carry on. And yet, I can't physically bring myself to the state. It just happens at the most unusual times. I'll be walking somewhere.
No, it doesn't happen in the most unusual things. It happens then when you let go of your concerns, when you let go of your thoughts and images. Either you were tired of walking and then suddenly, you didn't care about anything else in this world, and then suddenly there was just walking and you see a completely different reality. That's called Upachara Samadhi. So if that happened for you with walking a lot, then just go and walk for 3 hours or 4 hours. And then you will see, there will be a moment, where you look at yourself, you see yourself walking, and then say, who the hell is walking there? I'm not walking. You see a different reality. And that is that is a state of Upachara Samadhi, of access Samadhi. It's beautiful, because all the thoughts stop as well, The first thought is, it's not disrupting you. What is it? There's nobody walking anymore. There's just walking. Oh, there is walking. And then there is feeling. And then even there is thought. You just see that like in a movie. Wow. It's not me. It's not real. So, if it comes with walking, just try it out just right now today. Just walk for 3 or 4 hours. You have to walk for a long time. And you have to overcome tiredness. You have to overcome boredom. I mean, just go on. I mean, you're quite stout. Huh? So, I mean, just do it. 3, 4, 5 hours, just walk until everything goes away. And yet, then you will have the same experience. Now I understand why he came here.
Usually when there's no colour, like it might be a grey day, I don't know if it has anything to do with it or not, but it was a cloudy day with not much colour. It seems to be the time that
What happened then? Did you see a bright light?
No, there was just, it seemed to be just consciousness only and no body. And then when I suddenly realised that I am actually walking along and it comes crashing down that I've got to carry on through life.
And then you should ask yourself, why should I carry on? What does it bring me? The state that I just experienced, it's much nicer than carry on, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can't control it because it's...
No.
Because
it happens because of your past. It happens because of your past practice. In your previous lives, you practiced pretty well, and that is what's interesting. Then, in our youth, as long as we are not completely occupied with this world, these things can happen. But then, the moment our raga tanha comes out, or sexual desire comes out, then it's gone. You never see that again. Until we get down and start practicing again. And now you learn it and you will get it. And it might not even take that long, if you have a previous experience of it. If you have previously done it. Then just take walking meditation. As your main focus, and just if you can't walk, just sit. It comes. Just try. But don't look for the experience. Just do your work. When you do walking, you do Buddha, 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 Buddha. Huh?
Clear the mind.
Yeah. Clear it all off. Don't look for the experience, because the experience you will never find. The experience that you will have, will be much fresher. In this moment, and it is not, most of the time it's not the same as before, but it's similar. So if you look for something, you won't find it. But if you don't look, if you just do your work, you have to find it. It's just like a person, who digs a hole. As long as he digs, puts the shovel in the sand and digs it out and throws it away, at the same spot, there will be a hole. Just as a byproduct of his work. And so with us, if we constantly stay on Buddha, as a byproduct, there will be calm. And there will be happiness. And the things just disappear. So if you for expectations, they don't bring us anything, and they just bring us frustration. Oh, now I'm too old, I can't do that, I have to wait for my next life. That's not going to happen. So some more? Yeah, go ahead. We wouldn't find our place here to this forest monastery if we haven't been in touch with Buddhism and practice. That is pretty unlikely. But if we know what the true practice is, then it's quite likely that somehow, sometimes it can be the oddest circumstances, that leads us here. I mean, Kaya was drawn by his angels, you know. His Thai friend brought him here. I mean, she toured around Thailand, you know, and then, you know, suddenly, you know, she popped up here.
I didn't tour around Thailand. I just hit the Thailand and Thailand out here.
The concept of mind control is totally alien to my society.
Yes.
And this is why I'm out of step with society as such. So, when I first came here, you asked me why am I here? That was a very good question, but the answer was to learn, and really that's.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, that is it's more or less a rough decision. I mean, the moment we start practicing, we have to decide against society. But that doesn't mean that we have to do it in a rigid way. We just let it fall away naturally. By doing what we ourselves think is most precious to us. And then the others, you know, either will follow us or will just fall away. But we have the happiness that arises in our heart. We don't feel lonely because we have something. I mean, they feel lonely. That's why they need to come to us. That's why they need to call us or call upon us. How are you doing? I haven't seen you for a long time, you know. I wonder what you're up to. I mean, their memories suddenly come up. Oh, you know, I haven't talked to this friend for a long, long time. You know, let's see. Yeah? At the moment, you know, they don't feel any more connection. I mean, they just let you go by themselves. I mean, if you're not a buddy that goes into a bar, you know, or a striptease bar, you know, then they're not interested in you anymore. In the beginning, they try to convince you that this is fun, but you know, you said, "Oh no, it's not really fun for me. I mean, I don't like this sort of things. It upsets my heart too much." No, yeah, but if you like, you know, go. I mean, we don't tell them what they have to do, and they shouldn't tell us what we have to do. So we live in peace. And we don't, you know, we don't piss them off. So it's nice. We just do our things that we think, you know, it's worthwhile for us to do, and let the other people do what they think that is worthwhile for them. I mean, they will come back to us. Some of them will come back to us. After a while, the moment we have changed. Say, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, that is good. You know, you look much more. I mean, you look more happy. You don't look so down anymore. Well, what are you doing?" Okay, then it's the time to talk. "Oh, I'm doing practice. I'm meditation. I'm cleaning my heart." Now, how do you do that? Okay, then you can go. But if they're not interested, okay. It's a waste of energy just to talk to them. And find, you know, whenever you think you're lonely, you know, immediately go into the heart. Say Buddha, 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 Buddha until you see, you know, you're not lonely. You can do the same thing when you're angry or when you're lusty. I mean, you say Buddha, 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 Buddha and go into the heart.
Every attempt you make, for me, there's always something crops up to challenge again. And then you've got to get rid of that, and then something else crops up.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps I haven't been doing it for long enough, but maybe next time we speak, I might have better results.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you practice, you know, you will have better results. But one thing we should always remember, I mean, from the beginning of our practice till to the end, we still do the same kind of work. the cleansing the heart. So, there's no person, who is in advance in practice, or a person who is just a beginner. We don't know. It all depends, on our previous life. I mean, we just can start practice, after 1 year, we are much more, wiser than others. Or we are much more concentrated than others, because we have done it in previous life. So, actually, the time, the person does it doesn't really say a thing. So if you can pull out, your all experience, it's just like, when I used to speak French pretty well. I was quite fluent in French. But I haven't spoken it for 30 years. So now I don't even know a word. But I know the moment I go into France, after 3 months, I can start picking it up again. And so is it with people who practiced before. They practice in their previous lives, this life they haven't practiced, but after 3 months or 6 months or maybe a year, they pick up on their old. Okay, and then it becomes easier. But to get to this point, of course it is difficult. And if I always think, 30 years ago I knew French so good, I just could communicate with everybody. And now I can't, I don't even know what to say, I don't even know the French words anymore. I just frustrate myself. But, just living and hearing and reading, it just gives me, brings the things back. So just practicing the way that I described, your daily practice. Brings the way things back. And then if you have the occasion to walk, to take long walks, then just do the Buddha walk. You can go from A to B, you don't have to go up and down, but you can go from A to B. If you don't lose your Buddha, that's fine. Then use that. If you wait for the bus, use it. If you're on the plane, use Buddha. Whatever you do, don't read these things, because they are disturbing. All these magazines, newspapers, don't listen to radio, because they're all disturbing, bring up old memories, and then we get angry. How often is it that we get angry when we read something in the newspapers? How often is it that we get angry, when we hear some news? It's just pulling our triggers. In the beginning we avoid this. We want to get calm. And once we get calm, we can investigate what is pulling our triggers.
Action and reaction.
Yes, and we are so easy to react, huh?
Yes.
And that's what we have. That's where we have to have this determination. Huh? Grind your teeth, bite your tongue before you say anything that is unhealthy.
Take a deep breath.
Yes, take a deep breath, or take Buddha or whatever, Or go to the toilet and relieve yourself. And once you get up from the toilet, the world has changed. It's so amazing, that this effect of a toilet, having a really good dump, it's not only dumping the shit, the physical shit, but it's also dumping some of the mental shit. That's where the people had the most brilliant ideas. Scientists or musicians on the toilet. Because in that moment they let go of their shit. And that moment they let go of their shit, they let go of all the worries that they have about, what they thought about it. And then it comes through. All the work of 20 years suddenly comes through. Poops! Oh, there it is, Then I feel relieved, get up from the toilet and write down, the relativity theory. Or whatever. That's the point of letting go. So if you have some really big problems, just go to the toilet. Let's get rid of the shit.
Winston Churchill had all this apparently inspiration while he's in the bath with a cigar.
Yeah. That's also relaxing. Relaxing the body means also relaxing the chitta.
Yeah.
Of course, if the chitta is relaxed, the body is never tense. But most of the times, the chitta is so tense that the body gets tense. The moment we relax the body, we really take a deep breath, or we take a bath, or we take a shit. Automatically also the chitta will be released. Well, it has every effect. Wonderful. Just go. I just invite you till Friday evening or till Saturday morning. Do a lot of walking meditation and try it out. And maybe you get some results. Maybe you get some good results. And when I see you on Friday, I want to hear some of the good results. It doesn't mean need to be a big enlightenment, just something that you understood. For me, the life of a monk is such a beautiful thing. I can't even dream of, going back into this world. I've never been so happy in my whole life. But of course, it wasn't easy, it's a struggle. In the beginning it was a very harsh struggle, and now the longer you stay in ropes, the easier the struggle becomes. For some. For others it gets more difficult because they don't have the basis of practice. They don't have any place, they don't find a place in their heart where they can relax. And of course, if I can't find that, after 20 years I'm completely frustrated, and I have to take off my robe. Because I was looking never in the right direction. I was always looking out, This person did that unto me, that person did that unto me. What an unfair, Except of telling yourself, I must have been a load of shit, just looking at what the other people do unto me. I must have done that unto them. Now, that would be helpful. No, but we feel so sorry for our poor self. Isn't it? If people put us down, I'm so sorry for myself. And then we run to our good friend and tell him what all these bad things the other people told about us. And then they say, comforting, yes, And then it makes us even more depressed. Isn't it? Instead of, running to a good friend who says, you don't see that? That's what you have done unto others before. Now it's coming back, Just be happy and say, okay, now I can take it, That's the false friends and the good friends. the false friends make us feeling even more sorry. And the good friends, make us realize, the way that we view things is wrong. That's why a teacher is called a good friend. He makes us see things in a perspective that we can understand and we can accept. So the acceptance is sometimes rather difficult. But, we can learn. If somebody just comforts us and says, yes, this world is so bad and it's so bad. That doesn't help us to get out of our state. Yeah.
My Thai friend used to say, it's a Thai saying, that you do good in this life, people will come back, and if you do bad, you don't have to wait till the next life, it'll come in this life as well.
Yes, and it's the same with good, some of the good comes back in this life, and some of the good comes back in the next life. Some of the bad comes back in this life, and some of the bad comes back in the next life. But most of the things that we experience at that very moment is coming mostly from the previous life. Not all, but mostly. So, hello there you are. Oh, wow, you are heavy. Okay, I duck. Yeah, okay, yeah, gone. Next time. But in the beginning it hits us, and it throws us to the floor. And we say, oh, wow, that was heavy. And then we get up and say, actually nothing has happened. I still have my hands and my feet, and everything is still intact. Yeah? So what was that actually put me so down? Made me so miserable. So we crawl back to our legs, just like the little child, and then get up again, and then the next bomb hits us. But if we experience, after a while, well, okay. Duck and go, duck and go, duck and go. I mean, that's what I so much love about the teachings of the Lord Buddha. It makes life so understandable, so explainable, so reasonable. And if you accept his reasons, if you accept his rationality, then life becomes easy. You don't have to go to what is it called? To the court, to fight for justice. That's your own problem. I put that onto me. What the hell, Let that person get away with it. He will have the same karma as I'm having right now. And that is not good. So you can actually feel very sorry for him. Instead of running to the court, and try to fight him. Because what he did unto you, that is not very nice. You feel really, you really feel broken, or you feel dissatisfied, or you feel angry. And then but he's doing that to me, so that will come back to him. Oh boy, this poor guy. Because I have a way to deal with it. He might not even have a way to deal with it. So, who's luckier? You. In each case, there's no exception to it. And that is all, that makes life so easy, so, it's then, you just pull the thread. It just goes that way. You're in charge of it. But at the moment, you're not in charge of it. Somebody else is in charge of it. Sitting our head constantly. I want this, If you don't get me, I will make you suffer. Aren't the creators telling us that? That's why we are not at the top,
In the Christian church where I live, there seems to be no personal discipline like Buddhism, like the Buddhist faith.
Yeah.
Like people go to church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Few, it would seem now anyway, and there's no, there's the 10 Commandments which you're expected to keep, and this type of thing, but there's no personal regulation of the rules like there is in the Buddhist faith. This is what is so different. So different, and such a challenge.
Nowadays, especially in the church, are afraid to tell the commoners, they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that, because then they run away. They don't like to hear that. So that's why they don't tell them anymore. But Buddhists always will tell them. If you do this will happen to you. If you do that will happen to you. If you go against the precepts, you will go down to hell. All your friends will be there, so you don't worry.
I'm also one of them, John.
Huh?
I'm also one of them.
Huh?
I'm also one of them.
Yeah, sure. We have all been to hell,
No, I do date status is there. To date. It's at today.
Huh?
Doesn't matter.
Did you understand that? Because I didn't.
Doesn't matter.
And of course, this will happen in the same way in the Buddhist circles. People, Buddhist teachers, who really depend on the laity, who really want, meditation teachers who need the donation. They are very unlikely to say things that upsets the people. And just one thing that upsets the people is, if you don't keep the precepts, you go to hell. The next thing, if they are a little bit more advanced, if if they know that already, then you tell them, look at the body, look at the loathsomeness of your body. And then they might start looking at it, and they get very, very, very angry. And they say, no, that's not right, And they won't come to you anymore. So you don't get the money. I mean, if you don't have the money, you cannot live. So you depend on them. And because you depend on them, you are much more likely to say the things that they want to hear. And that's where the crux is. Or that's where the catch-22 is. You never will say them the truth. But I'm free, so I can say to people, the truth. I'm not dependent. If people don't give me anything, I die. I don't care. Because I have lived my life. Yeah. I mean, that is for me so clear. If people don't like me, or if they don't support me, it's their problem, it's not mine. I mean, they kill a good friend. Like the Lord Buddha said, they kill a friend, who's a Kalyana Mitta, a spiritual friend, who tells you what is right and what is wrong. I mean, you should never kill that friend. I mean, you should get rid of your false friends who constantly comfort you. Yes, what you're doing is right. Yes, what you're doing is right. Yes, going to a bar, is right. Yes, having a mere noise. Yes, having an affair outside of is okay. Everybody does it. How can it not be okay? Of course it is okay, because all these people will go to hell. In that sense, it is okay. But if he's a spiritual friend and he knows about these things, he will warn you. He said, I wouldn't do that. I mean, the sun is hot, if you're too long in the sun, you get a sunburn, and it's very uncomfortable. Huh?
Like Mahabua says, learn to live with a little.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's good advice, especially for in the material world, because we want this, we want that, and all these things, we're slaves to all these extra things we get. And I look back in my life, and the happiest times, I think, was when I had nothing. And only a suitcase full of clothes and a vehicle, and no worries.
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, even now that I've gathered so many things, as the moment I leave, I just take the vital things and go. I mean, I just don't care what is going. But of course, the first time when I left into the homelessness, I mean, the decision was painful, but I thought it was right. Okay, here, my friends, I mean, take whatever you want. I mean, it's yours. Are you crazy? I said, no, I'm not crazy. Take whatever, Oh, these are so, priceless, huh? Okay, take it. I mean, I don't need it anymore because it just glitters my spiritual path. So after a while, everybody took whatever he wanted. And I remember one story of my father, who was in the war. And then, while you're in the war, I mean, you gather this. I mean, you have your tornister. How do you call it, tornister? I mean, your backpack. Soldier's backpack. I mean, you gather extra pair of socks. You gather, some medicine and this and this and this, and it becomes heavier and heavier and heavier. And then he said, he was in a fight in a combat with the enemy, and he lost everything. And he felt so free. I mean, I don't have to worry about this, and I don't have to worry about that. I've got everything what I need, actually. I get my food, every day. And so. I mean, that's freedom, having little, and don't have to worry about. I mean, people who are rich, they constantly have to look at the stock market. I mean, and the stock, just drops by 1 per mil, and they're worried. They're down. What is it? Numbers, Or a thief comes into and robs them of all these precious things. What do you do with this precious thing? You know, if you have a vase, you know, that is from the 16th or 12th century, all the things that you can look at it. I mean, you can't eat it. It has not even value, you know, to eat it. You know, you look at it 3 times and then then you don't see it anymore. But the moment it's gone, oh my God. Yes, that's how we attach to it, and it's a freedom, and that what is. I have to admit, it's just difficult as a monk, you know, in the beginning. We don't. Because the kilesas want this and want that, you know, and other people get this and get that, you know. When I looked at the bowl of my other friend, you know, he had all this delicious stuff and in my bowl there was just a little bit. Of course I got dissatisfied, and then, you know, I had to deal with it. I had to work on it. And, you know, after a few years, I looked at it, you know, he had the most delicious food, and I just had plain rice and some vegetables and some fruit. I was satisfied. It didn't really matter to me. You know? It didn't really matter to me what I got to eat. You know, as long as my stomach is full, you know, it's fine. That's why I eat in the first place, because I'm hungry. Not I'm lusty for this taste and that taste, because I'm really hungry.
And again, in my country, where people can afford it, if they have a house to live in, sometimes they have a holiday house, like what they call a batch, or down in South Island called a crib, and it's like, might be a little dwelling like this, with no power, no water, and so 2 weeks at the end of the year, when everybody has their annual holidays, they go to the little batches if they can afford it. And they come back and say they had such a good time because they had absolutely nothing there, and no electricity, nothing else to worry about. And I see the similarity here. Whereby we can do without these things and get.
Just wait a few months, you know, and then. I mean, for 2 weeks, you know, it's fine. I mean, why do people go camping and they enjoy it so much? Because it's a very simple way of life. But if they have to camp for the whole year, I mean, it's a length of time. And then after, you know, if they go to their little, what is it called, Dutch or whatever you call it, after 3 or 4 weeks, I mean, the kilesas come in. Oh, I want my cooker. I want this, and I want that, and I want that, and at home I have it. So why not going home? You know, and then they go home.
That's right.
So, but as a monk, you know, I live in this kind of very simple environment for 15 years. So as long as people come here only for a week or 2 weeks, oh, that's wonderful. You know, I could live the same life, no? The moment they are here 3 months, you know, they disappear. They can't. Because the kilesas say, no, I want this. Oh, I just want to go to town. I don't want to tell this him that I want to go to town because he might not say, you know, that I'm allowed to. So, freedom. Escape. Escape from freedom.
But the kilesas follow us everywhere.
We escape the freedom and follow the kilesas. Who was that psychology professor who wrote that book, Escape from Freedom? He was a German, but from. Yes. He was teaching in Chicago. I mean, it was a fantastic book. We escape from our own freedom and then go back to the herd, you know. That is ruled so much, you know, by all these laws and all this, you know, hick and hack and. Yeah. I mean, just people, you know, just being somewhere in a cave, you know, not meeting anybody. That is freedom for me. But others, even if they are trained, they can't take that experience. They go nuts. If something changes, if something comes up, and they get very angry or very dissatisfied, and then they have to leave. Yeah. Because we can't find, our inner samba, our inner riches. That's why. The moment we are in an isolated area or in a frightful area, and normally isolated areas when we are alone, people don't go. Only for a few. Few of the hunters, who went into isolated areas for months. But in their previous life they might have been ascetics. That's why they can live there. And that's why they enjoy it, because of the quietude and not being bothered by other people. But if they have not been practicing asceticism in the previous life, they couldn't have, survived in this one. It's not easy. It's not easy, and I've seen it. Also with monks, Oh, wonderful, this cave, and they're 2 days there and they're gone. The first day, oh, that is so wonderful, that's so great, that's so peaceful, 3 days later they're gone. They can't stay with themselves, because that's what they experience. If they're alone, the only one they have to face is themselves. And what they see is not to their liking. So they go.
Yes, precisely.
Okay, so
is this why we have so much TV? People want to have the TV on all the time because they can't live with themselves?
Yes.
Because they need all this extra. But all it does is damage their heart anyway. But, yes.
People live with their books. Intellectual people just live on their books. They don't need other people, but they need their books. If you take the books away, they're lost. They don't even know how to relate to the world anymore. But that is not true with us. If we find ourselves, we can relate. So you take away their books, or just look at the people around you. Just sit with them, quiet for a minute, 2 minutes. You don't have to say anything, but they sure, they cannot stand that silence. So they have to say something. And that's why they have constantly to put on, the first thing is when people come and visit you, you turn off the TV, you turn off the radio, everything so it's quiet, and then just say, hello, and then sit there, And, you can see that, they get restless, can you give me a tea, or can you give me a glass of water, and then they start trying to make contact. You just sit there and you just observe. If you have enough self-discipline.
Amen.
And that's what the people are trying. That's why they like to go into loud and noisy places. That's where they don't feel lonely. That's why they have a partner, because they don't seem to feel lonely. And that's why their life is so full of activity. Look at the calendars, at a day, they have 5 or 6 days. I have to meet them at this time, and that person at that time, this person called me just now, and I have to write this, or I have to do this, I have to do this. In the end, we don't have time for ourselves. And that's what is called a workaholic. He doesn't want to look, he doesn't want to face him up. He can be a workaholic or he can be an alcoholic. And it doesn't matter as long as it's holic,
That's me. I've been a workaholic too.
Yeah, of course. My father as well. We watched him, the moment he went out of work, he turned to alcohol. And then we said, his children, his kids said, not good. You become an alcoholic, huh? And just because you can't deal with it, just make something out of your life, huh? Use the things, use your skills that you had in your working life. I mean, for your grandchildren. And when he started doing that, and slowly, he got out. Until in the end, he realized, I don't actually have to do anything. But it's difficult. Most of the people will have the problems they stop working. Yeah. They can't, they just can't deal with themselves, the whole environment. Am I now useless? Am I now worthless? Nobody respects me anymore. Get out of my way, you old pensioner. I'm in a hurry. I have to work. I have to earn money. You're just, But also the old people, want to be heard, they want to be related to. Because actually what they did was the same thing they do right now. Isn't it? And that's why they constantly get in our way. Because they want to be, they want to be part of the society, but actually we kick them out. We really kick them out. The society kicks out people, who don't work anymore. They go to old people's home. And mostly, hopefully with a fence, big fence, electric wire fence, so that they don't get out. And don't disturb us. And 2 years before, we think about that. Oh. And then we might regret it, because that is just coming up, no? Getting into the old people's home. Our kids kick us out, Oh, what do you want here, That's only for young people. So that's why it's so important. And that is not happening, it's hardly happening in a Thai society. Because people, who laid off work, or sometimes, when they educated their children, they retreat and go to a monastery. And spend the rest of their life in the monastery. Men try to practice, or at least try to help. If they can't practice, they just try to help with the work that is around the monastery, just live in the monastery. And that's where they're useful. It's useful for them, and it's useful for the society or for the monastery. And the women do the same thing. Okay, let's go to the monastery and at least cook some food for them. So they do good. And then they are not in the way of their younger. And even can invite the youngest to come to the monastery so that they get a feeling for it. And that is the social aspect of Buddhism. When you see it like that in Thailand. It has good functionality. When people get old, and they feel dissatisfied with the life because the life is rushing around them, and they can't understand it. They go in a place where the life doesn't move on. And that is always a monastery. There's no life, not in the sense of the outside life. So if they're happy with that. But of course in Thailand it's not so difficult for old people, because old people are still respected. What is not happening in the West. A youngster just coming from university has more value than an experienced engineer. Isn't that crazy? Everything that is based on experience, we just disrespect. Just 200 years ago, the head of a family, was the wisest person, and whenever somebody, because he lived the longest time, he had the most life experience. So everybody went to him and asked him about his opinion, should I do this or should I do that? Or should I plant now, if he was a farmer. And he knew it because he had so many years, of life experience. And he experienced this kind of weather or this kind of situation, that kind of situation, and he knew, okay, maybe you try this, no, that is not good. But now, when our parents say, or older people say, what do you know? I mean, you haven't even gone to university, what do you know? Isn't it? That's just the situation. And so we are really, I mean, the Western society is really in a bad shape. It's really a very, very bad shape. Not counting on life experience anymore. Not counting on social values. Because our social values diminished even further. I mean, at the beginning we lived as a family together. Now, I mean, even if mother and father are still living together, I mean, the children are out of the house. They're having their own family, and then after 2 years they can't stand each other anymore. I mean, then the child goes from one parent to the other. I mean, isn't that... just to think about it, I feel so sorry for these. And how do they grow up? They don't know these children. They don't know any values at all. They don't have a family value. They have no. I mean, they just go ahead and kill somebody, without any regret whatsoever. Because I mean, who cares?
In the early mornings of TV programs that you see, I've been to several countries, and even in Thailand here. You will see, I think the programs are designed to get the woman's attention while she's doing the housework in the morning perhaps. And all you see is conflict between a male and a female arguing with each other about something or other, whether it's in English or Thai, and all this is designed to break down family values and split the families up. And I believe all this is just, satanic. That's what we call satanic influence coming from many sources.
No, it's not satanic influence. It's the influence of the kilesas. I mean, they can control people much better if they are alone. I mean, just like if you have a good friend, if you have me as your friend who tells you, what is right and what is not right, and you still like to with me, the kilesas have a very difficult time with you in getting you. But if they can convince you that I'm a bad guy, I mean, then you go on your own and they can do whatever they want with you. So if you have a wife, I mean, that still if you have a partner that still sometimes says to you, hey, what did you do? That wasn't really nice. That it wasn't really kind. I mean, he has to let go of his wishes, in order to keep the family peace. And the kilesas don't like that, so they say, this partner is shit. I mean, he's a shithead, or he's an airhead, or he doesn't even know anything. I go and have a next one. It's not satanic. I mean, there is a devil, but the devil normally doesn't bother about us. He bothers about the people who want to go out of his realm. There where he comes in. But as long as they're in his realm, I mean, he doesn't bother about X and Y. I mean, he's not concerned about it because they're constantly there. I mean, they just follow their own rules. He goes to the people, who really are determined to get out of his influence. That's why he went up to see the Lord Buddha and tried to seduce him. But he didn't buy into that. He said, Maya, I know you. I mean, you're just there. I mean, there's nothing else in Maya. Illusion. I mean, the devil and illusion are very close to each other. Satanic in this way, it really does not exist. I mean, I wouldn't use that term. I would use, the temptator, the illusionist, who tries to tempt us. I mean, that is much better. I mean, satanic is just evil, and evil is wherever we are. He tries to do, he tries to tempt us to do evil, to do not good. Because, if we do not good, that keeps us longer under his influence. And the more we do bad, the longer we are under his influence. And he knows that. So that's why he tempts us to do bad and bad and bad and bad. And we are so stupid and believe him. Yes, my Lord. I follow you. I have to break up with my partner. Or I have to kick out my children. Or the children say I have to kick out my parents because my father constantly tells me what to do and not to do. I don't like to hear that. And the Kilesas don't like to hear that, what to do and what not to do. And you know that. And the moment you sit down and say Buddha, 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 the Kilesas don't like that, don't they? It's not the devil. That comes later. If he even comes. Okay?